everyone, Dana here from Discovery again. Now, I was meant to do this video last Thursday and I filmed it, edited it all together and then lost it. Hence, it's a week late. I'm filming again. Now, last video we did about nature learning and living things and it was really well received, so thank you so much for that. And I just want to reiterate the fact that I'm here to help, so if you have any questions or suggestions about topics you want to explore further, let me know and we'll see what we can do. This week I decided that we would have a little bit of a chat about play in STEM learning. So I'm sure we're all well aware of how important play is in early childhood. In fact, the educational theorist Jean Piaget said that play is the work of childhood, and I certainly couldn't agree more. Even in our early years learning frameworks in Australia, we've got a whole section devoted to learning through play. It's seen as fundamentally important. So I thought we'd have a little chat about play in learning, in STEM learning. But the first thing we probably need to define is what is play, because I think there's probably as many definitions as there are people in the world. So there are pretty much 5 universal agreed upon definitions of what play is. And one of the first characteristics of play is that it's self-chosen and self-motivated. Now what that means is that children, or adults even, are playing because they want to play, not because anyone is making them or directing them. Of course, at sometimes there is a leader of the play, but this can change throughout the play. Now, the second universal characteristic of play is that it's intrinsically motivated. What this means is that there are no rewards for playing, no punishments for not playing. And the third universal characteristic of play is that there are rules. So this certainly doesn't mean that teachers give children the rules and you have to play by this. That it just means that there's a buy-in, that rules are kind of developed together and that those rules are followed, and those rules can change, they're not set in stone. Now, the fourth universal characteristic of play is one I'm sure we're all pretty familiar with, and that is that play is imaginative. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that everything is totally in a different world of unicorns and castles and that kind of thing, but there's some element of imagination within the play, and that can even be seen in constructing blocks, that there is an imaginative element to what is being built. Now, the last universal characteristic of play is that the people engaged in play are alert, active, and they're not terribly stressed. Now, that doesn't mean that the play doesn't have tension in it. We can see there's plenty of tense play. For instance, superheroes or, goodies and baddies, that kind of thing. There's definitely a lot of tension in it, but that is not overwhelmingly stressful. So why are we discussing play in early childhood STEM education? Well, the reason is because play is the best way for children to learn, whether in STEM or otherwise. Play engages children in what they want to be doing. It is memorable, so they're motivating their own learning. Children will not learn well through rote and drill practice. Given what I was saying earlier about the universal characteristics of play, it's tempting just to totally step back as an adult and educator and let children come up with their own conceptions. There's a surprising amount of ideas that they pick up through play alone. But that doesn't mean that adults and educators aren't important in learning those concepts too. The adults play a really important role of scaffolding and guiding that learning, taking it from that play to the knowledge. It's our responsibility to observe, to organise, and to engage that learning so that they can discover and explore and take their learning to the next step. The best way for children to engage in STEM learning is through exploring the world directly around them and exploring their own experiences in the world. Now, there's heaps of really fun STEM concepts like dinosaurs, the Antarctic, all of that kind of thing, and they're fantastic. But if we really want to engage in that deeper knowledge, it's best to stick to things that the children are already a part of. Now, if you're sitting at home and want to start engaging in STEM play with your children but don't know where to start, I'd suggest blocks and puzzles. They may be old-fashioned, but there's a reason they're a classic, and that's because they're amazing. A lot of research has shown that Puzzles and blocks really help with spatial thinking, and spatial thinking is key in mathematical skills. Recent research has shown us that good mathematical skills when starting school is an even better indicator of later school success than social, emotional, and literacy skills. Now, not only do jigsaw puzzles and blocks help with spatial thinking abilities, they also help with language skills, cognitive abilities, fine motor skills, and social skills. Okay, that's it for me today. Like I said earlier, if you have any questions or suggestions, please let us know below. Thanks very much. Bye.